Thank you for watching this presentation to learn more about the Planning and Environmental Linkages, or PEL study that MDOT is conducting to improve the I-75 front and Elm interchanges in Monroe, Michigan. MDOT is using the PEL process to identify future transportation improvements in this area through a collaborative and integrated approach while considering environmental, community, and economic goals early in the project development process. This presentation will recap the project limits, stakeholder and community engagement, and the purpose and needs statement. We will also cover the alternatives process that allowed MDOT to evaluate options using data and community input to arrive at acceptable alternatives. Finally, we'll talk briefly about next steps for this project. The specific study area we are focused on is the I-75 bridge over the River Raisin, as well as the Elm Avenue and Front Street interchanges. However, we will study how any changes to this area would impact I-75, the Dixie Highway interchange, the La Pleasance Road interchange, and the local road network. MDOT has met with our local advisory committee, stakeholder groups, and the community throughout the past year to understand challenges, opportunities, and to receive feedback on alternatives. Emerging from our engagement with stakeholders and the community was the purpose and needs statement for the project that serves as the foundation of the PEL process and allows MDOT to examine potential options to ensure they meet the purpose and need of the study. Here's a quick recap of the illustrative alternatives and those that advanced for further consideration. If you'd like to know more about the details of this process, please visit the link in the description to view the presentation from our February 2023 community meeting. Here's an existing image of the area, looking west towards downtown Monroe. Alternative 3 would introduce new collector-distributor roads alongside the freeway, maintaining direct access to both Front Street and Elm Avenue with wider curves, slower speeds, and more room for vehicles to merge safely. This alternative has limited impacts to adjacent property and natural habitats, but would require a wider bridge over the River Raisin and would extend the project area north and south along the freeway. Alternative 5A would both reconstruct interchanges in kind to limit impacts to adjacent property and natural habitats, maintaining a familiar layout for drivers, and maintaining direct access to both Front Street and Elm Avenue with wider curves, slower speeds, and more room for vehicles to merge safely. However, the safety issues that exist today due to the close proximity of both interchanges would remain. Alternative 5B would reconstruct the Front Street interchange in kind to limit impact on adjacent property and natural habitats, maintaining a familiar layout for drivers with wider curves, slower speeds, and more room for vehicles to merge safely. The elimination of the Elm Avenue interchange would allow for even safer merging on and off of the freeway and would also free up significant land along Elm Avenue for potential integration in the trail and recreational system. However, this alternative would eliminate direct access to Elm Avenue, requiring drivers to access the area by using the Dixie Highway or Front Street interchanges. Here's a snapshot of how the three practical alternatives performed when compared to one another. Alternatives 3 and 5B perform almost equally when measured against the evaluation criteria, with cost representing the largest difference between the two. Conceptual cost estimates indicate that Alternative 3 would cost approximately $244 million, and Alternative 5B would cost approximately $146 million. All estimates include the cost to construct the bridge over the River Raisin. Based on the evaluation process, MDOT is recommending alternative 5B as the most acceptable and feasible alternative. MDOT is also recommending alternative 3 as an acceptable alternative for possible future analysis during the NEPA phase. While not currently feasible due to its high cost, MDOT is keeping this alternative on the table in the event additional funding can be secured. MDOT will now finalize the PEL report and determine the timeline of the NEPA, design, and construction phases of the project. Please visit our project website to provide additional input and view more information on the study. Thank you for your time.